Do you remember Dropzone on the Commodore 64? A fiendishly difficult but brilliant Defender-style game that won a gold medal in issue 3 of Zap 64 magazine. More likely, you remember Jetpack, the legendary ZX Spectrum and VIC-20 game that won Game of the Year at the Golden Joystick Awards in 1983, which featured similar but much less frustrating gameplay, and weirdly never got a Commodore 64 port. Well, Baggers in Space began life as a Jetpack clone, a little project written by Michael Flashware for Rusty Pixel's musician Space Fractal to have a play around with the code of a game that features inertia and gravity impacting on the main sprite, so that out of that he could possibly create something in the style of his favourite C64 game, Space Taxi. But Space Fractal, responsible for the absolutely stunning music in Baggers in Space, never did play around with that code. Jim Bagley then suggested that rather than waste the game, they could make something new out of it, and he had the idea that maybe the player could go underground too, which is actually where much of this delightful game takes place. So let's just backtrack a little. In short, Baggers is a rubbish pilot who's crashed his space rocket on the planet Armitage. Playing as this space pilot NASA ordered from Temu, your first job is to reassemble your rocket, then collect some handy dynamite that conveniently appears out of nowhere for no explained reason, and use it to impolitely blast your way underground. There you will find in the maze-like caverns there's some fuel that you can collect to fill up your phallic space vessel's empty tanks. Doesn't say whether it's leaded or unleaded or premium, but fortuitously it just seems to work fine in your blue-tacked back-together craft. The problem is that underground there are lots of unfriendly aliens, possibly annoyed that you just polluted their atmosphere with spilled red diesel and then blew a hole in their ceiling without asking. And there are dastardly traps making life difficult for you as you try to collect the fuel without paying for it. Health power-ups and extra oxygen and other items such as keys to unlock areas you can't simply blast through with the dynamite of dubious origins. Also, collect the idols, which will give you, let's say, special powers. There are also items you can collect purely for points, which take different forms on different levels, but beware, if you get too distracted by this in your high score frenzy, this will lead you into the path of more of the rather cheesed off indigenous species that have far more right to be there than you. You don't have multiple lives, you get one, but you do have a health bar and an oxygen bar. If you get off the planet before either of these deplete to zero, then they are replenished in full and you get a points bonus for what you have left, which isn't usually a lot in my case. Once you've fueled up your space penis, you're free to blast off the planet, crash into a space sphinx. That's hard to say. Which stupid hippie wrote that line? A Spectrum, a TARDIS, you get the picture. You crash again on a new planet with new nasties and new caverns and repeat the same process. Of course, the difficulty level increases with each new planet. The graphics and animations are beautiful and more than charming, as are the frequent retro nerd culture Easter eggs. Each planet has its own graphical theme, perfectly complemented by the music, and all of the stunning soundtrack is included with the game in MP3 form. I haven't found a single glitch or bug, and I find the difficulty level just right to keep me coming back for more, despite the occasional Teddy's out of the cot temper tantrum. It's more forgiving though than a truly retro game, in that once you've completed a level you don't have to replay it. Though I did do, and it wasn't in a vain attempt to beat my own high scores, it's an addictive game and I just wanted to play the levels again. But I do welcome such quality of life features in next games. You can also pause the game when your tea's ready. Speaking of the next, I think this game is a great example of what the next is all about. The game takes advantage of everything that is great about the machine. You can use keys or joystick to control the game, and those controls are refreshingly simple. I found the 8-bit Do M30 ideal, but a one-button joystick will do. Tip from me, I've found the best tactic is not to try to navigate the game too perfectly. Don't worry if you crash into the occasional obstacle, it's better to lose a little health, but make sure you get off the planet before you die of asphyxiation. So that's my first video game video done. That's kind of a mouthful. First video game video done. And if I do any more in future, then I probably will not do a talking to camera bit like this, but as it's my first one, I just wanted to say a couple of things quickly. Leading up to making this video, I was thinking about how to approach it, because there's a lot of different ways to approach making a video game review video. I'm saying it again, it's still a mouthful. And I just decided to do it the way I would like a video to be if I was looking for, you know, a review of a game. I just want to know basically what it's all about. Is it well coded? You know, is it full of bugs, or is it worth me spending my money on? And, you know, just kind of give me an idea of what the game's about, and then I can make that decision for myself. I'm not going to put a rating on it. I think putting a numerical value on a work of art is a bit stupid, really, because a game is that, you know. It's like putting a numerical value on Dark Side of the Moon or Night at the Opera. Daft, not necessary. In the case of this game, it's excellent. If it looks like your cup of tea, I definitely recommend spending your money on it. Now, I did mention in the video the 8-bit Do controllers, which are available in the TechnoShed shop, so I'll put a link to that in the description below the video. Excellent controllers, perfect for the next. Now, as this is my first video game review, if there's anything you felt like I missed, anything I could have done better, any points I should take into consideration for future videos if I make them, then please do slag me off in the comments below this video so that I can take that into consideration and become a better person. And I do know that yes, although there isn't an awful lot of Spectrum Next content on YouTube, which is why I'm making this video and why I intend to make more Next content, I realise, yes, there are some reviews of this game already, and you might be thinking, well, you know, I might have been better off starting with a different one. The reason I did this one is because the most popular game I got requests for reviews of was Baggers in Space 2 Detour. But in my brain, it just doesn't make sense doing a review of that when I hadn't played Baggers 1 or done a review of that one. So that's why I did this one. So if you don't like it, well, you know, you can slag me off in the comments below this video, of course. Until my next video, take good care of yourselves, be kind, be good people, look after each other and the planet, play lots of video games, make lots of music, and try not to piss pants about. I'll see you later.